When Xavi was announced as Barcelona's new manager in 2021, it felt like the perfect homecoming. One of the club's greatest ever players, the midfield genius who controlled games with his passing, was now back to restore Barcelona's identity. Fans dreamed of seeing the club return to its glory days, playing the beautiful football they were famous for. At first, it seemed like he was the right man. Xavi brought discipline, belief, and fresh ideas to a struggling Barcelona side. He helped them win La Liga in his first full season, a huge achievement given the club's financial problems. But football is ultimately ruthless. Just a year later, he found himself under pressure, unable to guide the team past its struggles in Europe. The same fans who once saw him as a hero started questioning if he was out of his depth. Xavi's journey as a manager has been full of highs and lows. He proved he could bring success, but he also made clear mistakes. Now, with his time at Barcelona over, the big question is, where does he go from here? When Xavi took charge of Barcelona in November 2021, the club was in crisis. Financial struggles, managerial instability, and a squad in transition had left Barca a shadow of its former self. The team was struggling in La Liga, far from the glory days Xavi himself had experienced as a player. He was seen as the ideal figure to restore the club's identity. After all, he was a product of La Masia, an architect of tiki-taka, and a player who had lifted every trophy possible during his illustrious career. Xavi's appointment wasn't just a football decision. It was an emotional one. Barcelona needed a leader who understood their philosophy, someone who could bring back the essence of positional play that had been lost since the departures of Pep Guardiola and Luis Enrique. The expectations were massive, and Xavi embraced the challenge, bringing his ideas and tactical discipline. His first few months in charge showed promise. Under his guidance, young talents like Pedri and Gavi flourished, and there was a renewed sense of identity. The team played aggressive, high-pressing football, a stark contrast to the disjointed performances seen under Koeman. However, the real test was whether Xavi could bring silverware back to the club. Xavi's first full season in charge, 2022-23, was a turning point. Despite financial struggles limiting his squad building options, Barcelona secured the La Liga title for the first time since 2019. They finished 10 points ahead of Real Madrid, a statement victory that proved Xavi's system could deliver results. The success was built on a rock-solid defense, led by the rejuvenated Marc-Andre ter Stegen and the experienced leadership of players like Sergio Busquets. Unlike the free-flowing Barcelona of old, this team was somewhat pragmatic, often winning games 1-0 or grinding out results. Xavi had adapted to the reality of his squad, balancing defensive stability with attacking precision. Another high point was the Spanish Super Cup triumph over Real Madrid. In a 3-1 victory, Barcelona dominated their rivals, with Gavi stealing the show. It was like a moment of resurgence, a glimpse of the old Barcelona returning under Xavi's leadership. But despite these achievements, there were warning signs. Their Champions League campaign was disappointing, as Barcelona failed to progress past the group stage for the second consecutive year. For a club with European ambitions, this was a major setback. The pressure on Xavi grew as questions arose about whether his tactics could work at the highest level. Barcelona's return to the Champions League knockout stages in 2023-24 was a step in the right direction, but their performances in Europe continued to raise doubts. While Xavi had found success in Spain, his tactics struggled against top European opponents. One of the key criticisms was his inability to adapt mid-game. Unlike managers like Carlo Ancelotti or Pep Guardiola, who are known for their tactical flexibility, Xavi often stuck rigidly to his game plan. In high-pressure situations, the lack of adaptability proved costly. Injuries also played a role in Barcelona's struggles. Pedri, Gavi, and Frenkie de Jong all suffered significant setbacks, leaving the midfield weakened. Xavi's reliance on young players, while admirable, exposed the squad's depth issues. When key players were missing, the team lacked a plan B. Another challenge was squad balance. The departures of veterans like Busquets and Jordi Alba left leadership gaps, and some of the summer signings, including Joao Felix and Joao Cancelo, failed to provide consistent performances. Financial restrictions limited the club's ability to reinforce in key areas, and Xavi had to make do with what he had. By early 2024, the pressure on Xavi had reached a boiling point. Barcelona was struggling in La Liga, trailing behind Real Madrid and Girona in the title race. The team's performances lacked consistency, and criticism from the media and fans intensified. Xavi's frustration became evident in press conferences. He openly admitted that managing Barcelona was mentally exhausting, stating that the constant scrutiny and high expectations took a toll. Unlike other clubs where a transition period is accepted, at Barcelona, immediate success is demanded. In January 2024, after a disappointing run of results, Xavi shocked the world by announcing his decision to leave at the season's end. His reasoning was simple. He believed that his departure would relieve the pressure on the club and allow a new coach to lead the next phase of the project. While some fans saw this as an honorable decision, others viewed it as an admission that he wasn't the right man to take the club forward. Despite the criticism, Xavi remained professional. He continued to push his team in the final months, ensuring they fought until the end in all competitions. But by the time the season concluded, it was clear that his tenure had run its course. Barcelona needed a fresh approach, and Xavi needed a break. With his Barcelona chapter closed, the big question remains: what's next for Xavi? While he has taken time away from the game, he has made it clear that he is not done with coaching. He's expressed interest in learning from other managers and analyzing the game from a new perspective. One possible destination is La Liga, where clubs like Real Sociedad or Sevilla could offer him a chance to rebuild his managerial reputation without the extreme pressure of Barcelona. Another intriguing possibility is a move abroad. Xavi has previously spoken about his admiration for the Premier League, and there are several teams that could make for a fascinating Xavi project. There is also the possibility of a return to Barcelona in the future. Many former Barca coaches, including Luis Enrique and Pep, have taken a break before coming back stronger. If Xavi learns from his mistakes and develops his tactical flexibility, he could return as a more refined manager. For now though, his focus is on personal growth. The Spaniard's time at Barcelona was a learning experience, one that tested his resilience, tactical ability, and leadership. Whether he returns to coaching soon or waits for the right opportunity, one thing is certain: Xavi's managerial journey is far from over. Xavi's time at Barcelona was a crash course in elite level management. While he had moments of brilliance, his tenure also exposed key weaknesses that he must address if he wants to return as a top-tier coach. One of his biggest challenges was tactical adaptability. His Barcelona side was heavily influenced by Cruyff and Guardiola's positional play, but when things didn't go according to plan, Xavi often struggled to adjust. Against deep defensive blocks, Barcelona's attack lacked creativity, and in high-intensity matches, his midfield was sometimes overrun. Another issue was his game management. While he excelled at implementing a clear style, he didn't always make the right substitutions or tactical shifts during games. In crucial moments, especially in the Champions League, Barcelona often collapsed under pressure, raising questions about Xavi's ability to manage high-stakes situations. Squad building was also a challenge. While financial limitations restricted his options, Xavi still had significant input on signings. Some, like Robert Lewandowski, were immediate successes, but others, like Franck Kessie and Ferran Torres, struggled to make an impact. Xavi relied heavily on young talents like Pedri, Gavi, and Alejandro Balde, but over-dependence on inexperienced players led to inconsistency. To succeed in his next job, Xavi must develop a more flexible tactical approach, learn to adapt during games, and improve his ability to manage squad depth across multiple competitions. The best managers evolve with time, and Xavi will need to do the same. Speculation about Xavi's next move has already begun. There are several potential routes for his return to management. A mid-table club in the top 5 leagues could be an ideal environment for Xavi to implement his ideas with a bit more patience. Another intriguing option could be international football. Coaching Spain's national team in the future might be an attractive role, especially given his deep understanding of Spanish football philosophy. International tournaments require a different skill set, focusing on short-term tactical planning rather than long-term squad development. Managing Spain would allow Xavi to work with top talent while avoiding the reckless club football schedule. However, international jobs often come later in a coach's career, so this may not be his immediate next step. Football is evolving rapidly, and modern managers need to keep up with tactical innovations. While Xavi's positional play philosophy remains relevant, managers today must integrate pressing structures, counter-attacking strategies, and defensive flexibility to compete at the highest level. One of the biggest trends in football right now is the hybrid approach. Managers like Pep and Ancelotti mix positional play with more direct transitions when needed. Xavi must study and implement these variations to make his teams more unpredictable. Another key factor is managing star players and egos. At Barcelona, Xavi worked with legends like Lewandowski and Busquets, but as he moves forward, he will most likely coach squads with different dynamics. Handling dressing rooms, keeping players motivated, and making tough selection decisions are crucial for success in modern football. It's too early to judge whether Xavi will become an all-time great coach. Many top managers struggled in their first big jobs before finding long-term success. Mourinho, Simeone, and even Klopp faced setbacks before refining their managerial styles. Xavi's biggest advantage is his deep footballing intelligence. As a player, he understood the game like few others, and if he applies that same mindset to coaching, he has the potential to succeed. The key will be learning from his mistakes, embracing tactical evolution, and choosing the correct next step in his career. For now, he remains a manager with promise, but unfinished business. Whether he can reach the elite level will depend on how he grows from his time at Barcelona. Even though Xavi's tenure as Barca's manager ended in disappointment, his impact on the club remains significant. He helped stabilize the club during a financial crisis, developed a new generation of talent, and restored Barca's identity after a difficult period. His La Liga title in 2023 will always be remembered as a turning point, proving that Barcelona could still compete despite the financial hurdles. However, his inability to take the club forward in Europe exposed his managerial limitations. In many ways, Xavi's story mirrors that of many young managers who return to their boyhood clubs too soon. The emotional connection and pressure often outweigh the time needed to truly develop as a coach. If he had started his career at a mid-level European club before moving to Barca, the outcome could have been different. If Xavi takes the time to develop, learn from top coaches, and refines his approach, he has the potential to be a great manager. But for now, he must take a step back, analyze what went wrong, and prepare for his next challenge. What do you think? Is a return to Barcelona possible in the future? Or will he manage a different club first? Let us know in the comments below.